Another thing you might want to change are some of the due dates. I think that whenever some of the courses got copied, the due dates didn't come over with that, so that everything actually shows past due. For instance, whenever I looked at the homework earlier, it showed that everything was past due. So let's go to the control panel and go to the homework test manager. The quickest way, you can go in and individually change each of these by going and choosing edit or settings for class, either way. If you do settings for class and go, it brings you up to the third page if you had gone to edit. So here you can change the due date. So we want to make that due the 12th or whatever day is good for your schedule. Save and assign. So it's now been updated. Tells us that these were indeed successfully applied. I got a warning telling me that my homework category currently has a default weight of 0 points. So we're also going to cover how to change that. So we're going to I'm going to click go to change weights. And right now I've got the quizzes are 10%, my tests, which includes the midterm and final, are 90. So instead, I don't want the quizzes to count anything, and I would like for the homework to count 10%, or 10 points out of 100. So now my homework does have a value, so I'm just going to click Update. And again, now you can see that the homework is 10%, the tests are 90. A faster way to update your due dates is if you go to Homework and Test Manager. Instead of doing these individually, if you go to Change Dates and Assign Status, from here you can quickly assign or unassign any of these assignments. You can also change when they become available. These are all already available, but if you wanted to hide something or have it not become available till later in the semester, you could change individually. So by going here, if I didn't want them to have access to homework 1.1 until maybe the beginning of next week, I would go to August and I would make them wait until the 29th for that to become available. You'll notice it just automatically changes. It kept with 7 a.m., but maybe you want to change that to the very beginning, so midnight of that day. Again, you can change the open date and close date individually, but the more efficient way is if you come to the top and pick a due date. So for instance, if we want to have a lot of things due on midnight of the 11th, the default time is 11:59 p.m. of that day, so the very end of that day. If I wanted to pick all of my Section 1 homeworks to be due that day, I would select 1-1 through 1-5 just by checking little boxes, and then apply to selected. Now this is only applying the due date because the apply to selected is under the due date. So by doing that, I can scroll back down and I see where it's changed. Now maybe your next due date is a week later. The one thing I do want to caution you on is it's very tempting to go ahead, change the due date, scroll down, pick the assignments, and then hit apply to all. The problem is you still have these selected. Just because you applied the date does not mean that these were unselected. The quickest way to deselect is to click this top box here that selects all, and then click it again, and now nothing is selected. So that you can repeat this process of picking another day, applying it to some of the assignments, and then again apply to selected. And you can continue through this until you've changed the dates to fit your schedule, your pacing guide. To double check that you have changed or that the students are able to see or not see what they should, because again, remember, I had the one assignment that 1.1 you should not be able to see currently because I'm recording this before the 29th. So if you go back to your course, I'm going to close this. Actually, I almost forgot a very important step, which is update either all settings or update changes only. Luckily, it reminded me. So I'm going to update all the changes that I made. And then close out of these. So from Course Compass, I'm going to go back to my course home, and then I want to look at my homework and make sure that section 1.1 is not showing up, because it should not appear for a few more days. And indeed, it is not showing up. Down the left side, you can double check your due dates. So here's one that I changed by itself, that I changed individually, I believe. And then here are some that we changed as a group. So just to keep that in mind, you can always double check yourself.